Welcome to Skykomish Viewpoints, June 13th, 2011 Town Council Meeting, Part 4.
Hi, I'm Kate Riley.
And I'm Dieter Benz.
Next up, the Sky River Inn.
Sky River Inn's Rick Goranson starts by stating his intention to resign from the Planning Commission as he didn't get many promises in writing regarding reconstruction of their business, and things aren't going very well in that direction.
For those of you who do not know me, my name is Rick Goranson. I work for my wife part-time at the Sky River Inn. I'm also a member of the Planning Commission, which I have told the mayor, and I'll say publicly now, I'm going to be resigning at the next meeting. There is a difference of opinion in the application of the shoreline management plan that to us is unsurmountable. And we would ask the council to look closely before passing the plan and realize the implications that it's going to make to the town and specifically to us. Just to give you some background of what we've gone through. When we agreed with Burlington that the best way to proceed with a faster, better cleanup for the town of Skykomish was to remove the Sky River Inn so that they would have a staging area to save the old buildings in town. The first thing we were hit with is a notification from King County Conservancy Zone that the level of the building top that we were going to be allowed was going to be 15 feet. Now, if you take 11 feet for the parking that is required underneath and fill the rest of the space with insulation, you get an idea of our situation. Now, after that point, the Department of Ecology passed a plan that guaranteed our grandfather. But that's all it did. It put the rest of our future in the hands of the town and what it was going to do. And we had assurances through many council members and mayors in the past and people who were affected, don't worry, we're going to take good care of you. And now we're in a position where some of that is coming back up to where it's payment plan. And unfortunately, a lot of that has not been in writing. Change the shoreline management to reflect 235, do it across the board, and make it consistent. This area that's in the SMP is growing. It's going to go down the main corridor of town now, down Main Street or 5th or whatever you want to call it. And it's going to affect a lot of people. And I don't know about you, but I don't know anybody, banker or anybody else, and we've talked to a lot of people who are anxious to put money out there where it doesn't pan out to make common sense. But what we're asking for is what's already the law in the town of Skykomish, that we already have at the old hotel. Nothing radical, nothing crazy. It's just a big investment. And in order to have it pass, we have to have some help. You have to give us the tools that are necessary to be able to make it work. So, what we're asking for is really simple. Take a look at it again, listen to some experts, look at some drawings, let's make some sense out of this. But don't legislate us to death. I don't think Skykomish needs another empty parking lot.
Rick states they can't raise the level of the property, but notes that could be done with the cleanup.
Now, I am not a high-tech guy like you guys with the pointers and everything else. So I made a little. This is what you get with 40 feet. You get 10, which should be 11, and 10, and 10, and 10. Now, if we take and put a pointy roof that's going to be approximately 15 feet and put in the insulation, now mind you, we cannot lift the level of our building. That can be done with a cleanup.
Rick appears to be saying he didn't negotiate raising the elevation during cleanup, and now it's too late.
Not to fret, Rick, as it probably wouldn't have mattered anyway.
The Skykomish Hotel did successfully negotiate raising the hotel's elevation, but the town's design review board nixed it.
The board did, however, approve similar elevation increases for BNSF's Maloney General Store and other structures, continuing its decade-long interference with and prevention of the hotel's restoration.
Councilmember Kevin Wiederstrom asked Rick what his parking height is.
What's your parking lot height?
Parking lot height, this is demonstrating a 10-foot, our guy says 11-foot.
One more example of how turning everything over to unelected boards, commissions, departments, committees, and project heads has caused council to become isolated.
They've disengaged to the point where even at this late date, Kevin and others have no clue as to what's going on.
Henry now follows Kevin with more confusing discussion of building heights instead of bringing much needed clarity.
But, okay, but I have so just to be clear, the limit, the zoning limit on, because there was some going around back and forth on this before, the zoning height restriction in commercial versus, I mean, it's by virtue of being in the shoreline, in the shoreline area. I mean, the shoreline area of the conservancy area, or whatever you call that, that's the area to be protected by the Shoreline Management Act. A different standard usually does apply there than what is applied. And okay, so I think that's pretty clear. I think you want to make that clear to people. That's, you can't say they, I mean, not saying they couldn't be the same, but there is a different, it is a different standard. Right. And I guess we'll get into questions about general.
Serious issues are met with a complete lack of understanding or apparent concern.
Council number 1 candidate Gene Egan comments from the audience that the Gorensons need a spreadsheet.
You know, the question I have is like, I think you're presenting hypothetical in that if you went to a bank, this presentation would be weak in that there's no spreadsheet. I mean, we're not looking at any occupancy history.
Right.
We're not looking at cost per square foot.
Right.
And so, you know, if you're doing a financial feasibility study, you got to have those numbers to go into the bank and the return on your investment and that sort of thing.
Henry goes off into left field when answering Gene Egan by stating it's not council's job to look at the cost effectiveness of building a building.
That's not really what the council's job would be, though. I mean, it's not to look at what the cost effectiveness.
Gene interrupts, stating, well, yes it is.
In a way it is, because if he's only allowed to put up one story and it's economically not feasible, then Skykomish does not have a motel. If 2 stories doesn't make sense, Skykomish doesn't have a motel. So the point is, if the numbers don't flow, we don't have a motel. And so that's why I'm saying, with the spreadsheet, you got the expenses, we got a little bit of history, it flows out. The bank says, yeah, I'll loan on that, and then we have a motel.
No matter what that economics is, they're going to come down with regulation about what makes sense along a shoreline of this size. And that's going to be more based on aesthetics, community, sort of what they do in other jurisdictions, all those kinds of things. Right. Not so much on whether a building works on a certain scale in a certain lot.
After years on council, Henry still suffers major blind spots that call his ability to serve our town into serious question.
No learning curve since his 2003 negotiating letter referring to BNSF as the aggrieved party.
That letter from Henry pretty much doomed Sky and set the stage for the present environmental and economic disaster. The real issue before council is not building heights or spreadsheets, but that present town governance does not allow investors, businesses, or families to earn the cost of capital.
This must change before Sky can once again prosper. Mayor Black talks with Planning Commissioner Kathy McGowan regarding their inability to discuss the Commission's commercial building height recommendation.
Listen to the following discussion and ask yourself if you would invest in a town where unelected officials control millions of dollars in public assets, private assets, your family's financial future, and the public trust, all without any apparent qualification or ability.
There's no vote required at this point in time, and Kathy, are you prepared to present the position of the Planning Commission tonight? Larry's not here, so I mean, I don't think we're ready at this point to answer these kinds of questions. But
so there needs to be more investigation.
I think so. I think so, especially with regard to how our ordinance, fits with the shoreline management plan. Which one rules? Are they both consistent? I mean, those are a lot of questions. We certainly can't make any kind of decisions here tonight because what we heard from Rick is kind of setting the stage. And
Mayor Black states it's all very confusing, that he attended the Planning Commission meeting and he's confused.
what we discussed at the planning commission has been, to me, confusing. I mean, I was at the meeting, and I was confused. But anyway, I think we need to do more work, and we need to do more homework before we can make an
I
intelligent
agree,
decision.
an intelligent decision, yeah.
So let's jump past the planning commission report.
The mayor postpones the commercial building height recommendation discussion for some time into the fuzzy future.
What do Larry Johnson, Rick Goranson, Kathy McGowan, and the many others who sit unelected on powerful boards, commissions, departments, committees, and projects have in store for your private property rights?
What's in the docket for the comprehensive plan amendment?
Is it okay for the town to grab private property by voluntarily adopting King County road standards and then blaming them for the town's taking of private property within 30 feet of the street center lines?
The town has been encroaching on private property rights meeting by meeting.
Property owners don't seem to care.
When it's time to sell, they will.
By then it will be too late.
Thanks for taking your valuable time.
I'm Kate Riley.
And I'm Dieter Benz.